Hey guys, it's Jesse from Grawlixpodcast.com, and I am videoing in my hashtag SCS challenge of the day, and today it is Saddest Comics. Now, in the original challenge, I think we kind of did this one, but it was most touching comic moment, and so I went with the reunion of Barry Allen and Wally West in DC Rebirth. So, saddest comic moment. And there's been quite a few, like I remember when Superman died. That hit me because I was, I was there for that. I was young enough that I was reading the comics that led up to it and stuff. And then when they literally put Superman in the ground, like right now, in the movies, we know that's not going to stick because now we know there's a return after the death of Superman. But at that time, man, we weren't sure, Like everybody was like, it's comics, he'll be back. They can't do that. You can't kill Superman. And and that was true. But at the time, we didn't know. They put him in the ground. But that's not the one that I'm going to go with. The one that I'm going to go with, I'm going to kind of piggyback. My buddy Ben chimed in on this when we did the original video. He commented on the YouTube page. And he said the death of Illyana Rasputin, or Magic. Now this is after she was regressed into a childlike form. She got the legacy virus. And so this is back in the 90s. The legacy virus was a virus that was killing mutants, and it was released by Strife, which was like a clone or something, alternate universe version of Cable. I don't know. Bad guy version of Cable created this awful virus that killed mutants in like the worst possible ways. Magic, or Illyana Rasputin, in child form, was one of those folks that was killed by the virus. And it was just, like you hate to see a kid get sick and then pass away in that kind of a way. And it was handled that way in the comic. Now that was brutal, and that was definitely a sad moment. But I'm actually going to jump to almost a decade after that, when they found a cure for the virus. Unfortunately, like we found out later, it wasn't a full cure, but at the time it was a cure for the virus. And Peter Rasputin, who's Colossus, he always grappled with guilt over not being able to save his sister. And so when it was time to go ahead and release the cure, they found a cure, but the cure was only activated when a mutant would die. Like you injected, I don't get it. I don't get the science of it. But here's the crux of it. The crux of it was, in order for the cure to take hold and cure the legacy virus, someone had to inject themselves with the cure, and then they had to die with the cure. And then that would release the antivirus or whatever that would cure everybody. And so I think there was like somebody who was ready to do it, and Peter's like, no, I'm doing this. And so he sacrificed himself to cure the legacy virus, kind of in honor and in memory of his sister who had passed as a result of the virus. And that's one of those deaths that stuck with me because, like it was an illness. It's just like a sickness that was claiming mutants. And at one point it even claimed Jamie Madrox. And that was brutal too, because that was, again, in the pages of X Factor, and Peter David wrote it very well. It's brutal because it's a thing that happens all the time. There are sicknesses, there's cancers, there's HIV virus, and I think that's kind of what the allegory was at that time, which morphed into AIDS, and it's just, you don't know who's going to get sick, and you don't know who's not going to make it as a result of those sicknesses, and so you don't expect to see that in comics. And so when it hit in comics, it was pretty brutal. All right, I've rambled enough at you. That's my answer, and we'll talk to you next time.